All right, what up, y'all? My man Kenny Omega. He said that AEW doesn't need him. Damn, Tony. Damn, Tony. Damn. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that's very tough hearing that from Kenny because I do feel like Kenny may see that AEW isn't really hot right now, so he's like, I don't want to be a part of that. You know, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of the reason why he's like, nah, I'm going to just chill in New Japan, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go over here. I can do my 5-star matches over here and stuff like that. I ain't got to deal with none of the AEW issues that are going on right now. And Kenny is considered one of the founders of AEW. So I feel like he's never going to be able to like say it, you know what I'm saying? He's never going to say, oh, no, AEW's wild right now, you know? But I do feel like that he understands what the fans are talking about, you know? I think he sees what we all see. And AEW is a shell of its former self. And shit, AEW is worse off than it was when Kenny was last there. The last time Kenny was there, this company was totally different. And now we're back here, and it's just like, you would think Kenny's first promo back after his surgery would be in AEW. You know, especially with this whole invasion of AEW thing. Kenny is definitely someone who can say, oh, I'm a day one, I can come in here and Moxley, you know what I'm saying? But he's showing up in New Japan. I assume he will be back in AEW at some point, but he's not in any rush, you know? Now, this could be for a multitude of different reasons, and I don't want to just say, oh, nah, he just hates AEW. No, I don't think that's true. But I do feel like he may see that there's smoke, you know? And when there's smoke, there's usually a fire, you know what I'm saying? And I think he sees the smoke and he's like, there's no reason for me to go out there. I'm just coming back, you know what I'm saying? There's no reason for me to just throw myself over there, you know, when I really don't need to. And I'm listening to him talk, and he said that he didn't want to take spots away from the people who are on the roster right now, on TV right now. I was like, Kenny, I ain't gonna lie. We need you to come and take some spots up. I ain't gonna lie. Because there's a power struggle going on at AEW, and they don't know who they want to book. Kenny will be a constant, you know. If Kenny were to come back, Tony will be forced to put Kenny in a very premier position. I don't think that will be taking positions away from anybody else that's in like the mid card or the lower card and stuff like that, you know. But I do feel like Kenny Omega is someone who is needed on AEW television just to get people to watch. If not for anything else, at least get people to turn the TV on and keep the retention viewers, just keeping people in the crowd interested, you know what I'm saying? Kenny is that. But I don't know if he sees it that way. I don't know if he really cares. But I don't know. And then this really builds the question, does AEW need Kenny Omega right now? I would say yes. I think AEW needs every single huge megastar they can bring in that's not coming from Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. You know what I'm saying? Anyone who they can bring in that they've always had on their roster that's coming back from an injury or just not on television right now, they need to bring them in. Especially with this dire storyline of Mox trying to kill everything, you know what I'm saying? Kenny Omega is a part of a rare group of wrestlers today that is like still looked at as like a legitimate threat around the world, you know what I'm saying? There's some superstars that are only looked at as a threat in AEW, only looked at as a threat on Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Kenny Omega is considered a threat everywhere. That's just how great he is, you know? So I do feel like AEW needs to have his star power. He will be a huge mic presence, even if he's not wrestling. You know what I'm saying? His presence alone should do wonders for AEW, but I don't know if he sees it that way. And then lies the question that I always wondered, would he ever consider jumping ship? Now, I do think there is a scenario, but I feel like it may have passed, you know? And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't want Kenny Omega in the WWE only because they would feel like his moveset would get dwindled down, which is a fair criticism because they definitely do that to some superstars. maybe his promo skills would be changed differently. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of reasons why a lot of people wouldn't want someone like Kenny Omega to be in the super produced, heavily edited WWE. You know what I'm saying? But there are some superstars over there that Kenny has ran into over time. You know what I'm saying? For better or for worse, that I feel like he could do great work with. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, CM Punk with the whole brawl out situation. I do feel like Kenny and Punk will be able to squash it. I would hope, at least. I don't think Kenny and Punk will be as immature about it as the Bucks are. Kenny and AJ Styles, they're friends. Kenny and Cody Rhodes, I think there's a whole bunch of things. I believe Kenny and Finn Balor. Wasn't Finn Balor in Bullet Club as well? You know what I'm saying? I think there's a whole bunch of people over there that Kenny would be able to gravitate to. Like, oh, I was wrestling all around the world with you, and now you're here. Help me figure this out. You know what I'm saying? And we can imagine Kenny Omega at WrestleMania. Just one time. It not got to be a multiple thing. We could do a Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns or something like that. Kenny versus Punk. Kenny versus Cody. Man, that would be crazy. And it would introduce to people who only watch the WWE to a new superstar in Kenny Omega. A lot of people may not know who he is. A lot of people really don't know who Kenny Omega is. Like, there's a whole bunch of wrestling fans that don't know who Kenny Omega is, surprisingly. And like I said, I learned about him very late into my wrestling learning experience. You feel me? So if I took that long to learn, I've been watching wrestling since I was 8. I know there's a whole bunch of people younger than me or maybe older than me who have no idea who this is. You feel me? So I do think that Kenny is in a position where he may want to leave AEW. He may not be able to leave at this moment. Part of me believes that he doesn't see the greatness in AEW anymore because they've pretty much dwindled down and they've completely lost the feeling of what they used to be. Can he bring that feeling back? Absolutely, but I don't think he wants to put that on his back anymore, especially knowing that his body may not be able to hold it up, And the way AEW looks now, like I said, it's completely different than the way it was before Kenny left. It's a totally different scene now, for better or for worse. And Kenny may not want to deal with that. Or he may really just think they don't need him. And that's the hardest thing for me to figure out. I can't imagine Kenny's watching Dynamite and sees the way the shows are and see how the crowd doesn't care and how the ratings are dropping. I can't understand how Kenny would look at all of that and say they don't need me. As if he doesn't know that he can fix both of those things. You know what I'm saying? People will come in droves to see Kenny Omega. People will turn on the TVs to see Kenny Omega. It's happened before. Now, if Kenny were to come back and everything didn't go back, if things got worse or stayed the same, then I'll understand, like, you know what? It's not me. I can't fix this. We haven't even seen if he can fix it yet. In his words, it doesn't need fixing. So I don't know. This is a very interesting situation from Kenny Omega, and it's like, I don't think it's a big thing. I really don't. I'm not going to blow it up and say, oh, the Kenny Omega. No, it's not. I don't think it's that deep. But I do think it's something to look at because as the future of AEW changes, Kenny's still going to be there. Like I said, Kenny is a huge founder. So he has to be able to gauge this, I would be much more inclined to listen to Kenny's opinion about AEW than almost anybody because he was there since the very, very beginning. Kenny, Cody, and the Bucks. So I believe his word over almost anybody else's. But at the same time, it throws some doubt, It's like if LeBron saw that the Lakers were playing like trash and then they asked him, hey, LeBron, you ready to come back? He's like, oh, nah, they don't need me. Meanwhile, they're losing all of their games. They most certainly need you, LeBron. You know what I'm saying? AEW, for certain needs Kenny Omega. But if he really feels like they don't, I don't know. I don't know if that's a Kenny issue of his confusion with what's going on. I don't know if it's a Tony Khan issue. I don't know if it's an AEW issue as a whole. But I do think there is a problem. And I don't know if Kenny can save it. I don't know if Kenny wants to save it, but it definitely is something that I'm gonna keep my eye on, because Kenny Omega is one of the greatest in the world, and if AEW can't bring him back and at least throw him into the story some way, somehow, and see if he can at least bring in some fans, some TV viewers, we can start there. But if he doesn't want to do that, at least not right now, I don't know what AEW's going to do.